So now that you've got your tab stops built into your Microsoft Word document and you've got that consistency of spacing between the columns of your data, now I want to go in there and begin to format these tab stops. I'm going to introduce you to a concept called tab leaders. This is probably something that you've already experienced, whether it was inside of a Word document or inside of some other type of material, maybe a printed book. If you open up a book and you go to the table of contents, maybe inside of a textbook or whatever you got, you're going to see something very similar to what we have on the screen here. You're going to have columns of data. You've got the table of contents and you've got your main topics, maybe perhaps on the left-hand side or whatever direction, and then you've got page numbers associated with those topics. Now, in many cases, between those two columns, the topic and the page number, you're going to have maybe little dots that'll lead you across the page from the topic to the page number, or maybe it's just a solid line. And it helps connect, it helps lead the eye from the topic to the page number. And these are called tab leaders. So I want to introduce you to how we can create, I'm going to turn off the show hide the paragraph markers here, show you how to create these tab leaders so we can create these lines or dots that take us from, I'm not doing a very good job there, from the one value or one column to the next column, whether it's a single line or dots. Let's see how to do this. All right, so my first step, I've got the example file back open, and I've elaborated a little bit more on that table that we started creating in the previous lecture. Got a few more names in there, got 3 columns. So my first step is I'm going to highlight all of the names, emails, and positions that I have in this list. Now I've highlighted those and I've left off the headers because I don't want to put the leaders, I don't want to put the lines or the dots in between the headers. I just want to do it between the actual name and email and the actual email and the position value. So with that highlighted, I'm now going to go up to my Home tab. I'm going to go into the paragraph section, but I'm going to go down to this little button in the corner. Looks like a little right angle with an arrow attached to it. I'm going to give that a click, and this is going to open up my formatting options. But down at the bottom, lower left corner, you've got your tab formatting options. So I'm going to give tabs a click. Now inside of here, I can see a few things happening. I've got my 2 tab positions that I created earlier. Remember, I got one at the 2-inch marker. There's my 2-inch tab stop. And I got one at the 4.5-inch mark. There's my 4.5-inch tab stop. Now down below, they tell me what alignment those tabs are using. We've really only talked about the left align at this moment. And then we've got the leader associated with that tab stop. Default, you have no leader. We can see in the background that it's just empty space between the columns. So I'm going to say I'm going to grab my 2-inch mark. I'm going to come down and I want to do the dotted line or the little dots. So I'm going to do number 2 and I'm going to set it. Now I'm going to do the same thing with 4.5. I'll grab 4.5. It's a left align and I can come down and pick which type of leader I want. I'm going to be consistent about it. So I'll grab the number 2 again. I want to encourage you, experiment with the different types. It's just formatting, its preference, whatever makes it easier for you to read or your audience to read. Remember, this just leads you from one value in the list to the next value. And I'll set it. And that's it. You select your tab stops that were already defined. You can change the alignments, but I'll leave them at the default left align, which is what I got here. And then you can pick the leader. Make sure you set it after you've chosen the leader. I'll hit OK. And I've now got the leaders inside of my list. Going from the left-hand side of my page all the way over to the 2-inch marker, I got the dots. I type in the email, hit the tab key again, takes me to the 4.5, I got the dots. Let's try adding somebody else. I'll hit my enter key here, drop down a line. Let's put somebody old school in here. I'm going to say Owen Nolan. Let's hit my tab key, jumps me right to that 2-inch mark, and I've got the dots already given to me. There comes Owen at center. Hit my tab key again, Jumps me right over, gives me the dots automatically. Very cool, but a nice visual to help lead the eye from one column to the next. You got dots, you got solid line, you got a little hyphen line as well. Try this out. Remember, select all the data first, get all the lines selected that you want to add the leaders to, go up to Home, go into that funny little button in the corner of Paragraph. Down in the lower left corner you'll find Tabs, where you'll find all the settings for your tabs. Experiment with it. Get a feel for working with these tab leaders and formatting your tab stops.